People often ask me where to buy yerba mate and recommendations, and I'd suggest going to supporting a local store or a small business if possible. However, if you're living somewhere where you can't, like I once was, and they just don't offer the yerba that you want, check out Pampa Direct. They have the largest supply of yerba mate that I've seen, and I've learned and tried so many from them before that I've never seen anywhere else. But not only yerba, they also have dulce de leche, alfajores, shirts like jerseys, games and snacks like chocolinas, which is one of my wife's favorite cookies. And I found some really great recommendations on there for beginners, such as Don Eregi, which is something I learned about by just trying different stuff there. And also some of my personal favorites, which is Pipore and Aguantadora Despalada. They have great customer service that speaks English, and in fact, they shipped me another package of yerba for free after they had mixed up one of my orders. And they always include like little, extras, like little candies and stuff, which is really nice. And they ship anywhere in the world, and they offer free shipping here in the U.S. with an order of $50 or more. That may change depending on your country. And as a sponsor of the show, they offer 10% off on your first order with the code POWER. Go to yerbamatepower.com/pampa to place an order. Again, that's yerbamatepower.com/pampa. P-A-M-P-A. Pampa. Thanks. Welcome to the Yerba Power Podcast, where we share the power of yerba mate with the world. Today, my guest is a very special person that I've met on the interwebs. His name is Konrad, and I'm going to butcher his last name because it's Polish, but I'll try. Chihava? Close? Hey! All right, Chihava. Okay, so he is a self-proclaimed yerba mate addict, which we'll definitely dive into later. He has his own podcast as well, so that's another kind of thing that I found him through the podcasting world, and where he asks some very uncommon questions from uncommon perspectives, so something I can appreciate as a curious person myself. And being non-American as well is always good to have an interesting perspective there. And the really cool thing is that he lives in Argentina right now. While we're recording this, he's there. Just got back from Obera Misiones, which is basically the mecca of yerba mate or yerba mate there in Argentina and the Misiones region in general. But Obera definitely has a lot of great plantations and things there. So he got back, and I'm definitely very curious to hear about that trip and what all. I know you just recently posted some pictures and stuff, but anyways, yeah, Konrad, welcome.
Yeah, thanks. Good to be here, and yeah, I'm open to to sharing whatever you think is interesting. As you said, I live in Argentina. I've lived now a year and a half. So,
oh wow, nice.
But I don't know, it's short or long, depends on how you look at it. For me, it's long because a lot of things happen. I learned a lot of, like cultural nuances and language and history, and especially if we talk about like yerba mate, I'm like passionate as my like hobby. I don't know hobby, but like as myself, what I'm curious about is like you could say anthropology. So like I like to figure out like why people do what they do, like why cultures, have certain habits and customs and where they come from. So I definitely, analyze to death like, the habit of like yerba mate. And I also spend almost all my time here with Argentinians. So it's like, we can definitely dive into that because it's like it's an interesting word. I don't know where you want to start, to be honest. I think we were cut off. We could maybe go back to that point where I was talking about Poland and yerba mate, and I was making a deal at that Poland is one of the 3-4 biggest market in Europe, and it's actually, you were saying that it's basically probably because of like immigrants from that came back or something, but yeah,
at least that's what I had heard. But that's why I get it from the source where you're
maybe there's
Polish,
some part of it, but I think most of the Polish people that suddenly came back. I think what happened like with Yerba, yeah, I think you can hear me, right?
Yeah, I lost you there for a second.
Are you back?
Now you're back. Yeah, you're back.
No, I was saying that there's this guy, the Polish guy who's not pretty old. I don't know, he's like 50, but he like for 20 years he was like a very big traveler around the world, like one of the first like adventurers who had his like program in the TV, like traveling especially like he was like also anthropologist actually of South America, and he became famous. Like his symbol, like when he lives like half the time in US, half the time in Poland, and his symbol is like that he drinks mate and he always walks without like barefoot. And he has like online shop of where he sells like yerba mate, and he was like one of the first one I think that really like made a big because he's popular as hell, like even the people that won't watch him a lot, like he like everyone knew him. Now he for a long time he's also like more about like politics. But I think he was like the first one who really like started it a little bit. And then I think that the big change happened like last 5 years or something. And I don't think it was like one person then. I think that was like a new movement of like, okay, coffee is like we've been drinking it for a long time and it's great. People who can't drink coffee because it makes them feel bad, all that kind of stuff. And I think what started was like this alternative to coffee kind of movement. Mm-hmm. And then I think like yerba fit right in because it just works, especially for example for programmers. I found like some friends I had that like were, like I think it's because it's like you can, the same reason I started is because you sit for a long time and you have something that you can like drink all the time and it doesn't like jack you up immediately, and you also like don't have to stand up from the computer every like 15 minutes, So I don't know, there's something, like it has a totally different, I think, like purpose and origin in the Europe and US than it is in Argentina. That's why it's so like for me it was so hard to accustom here, like the way they treat mate. It was like, for me, it was just like kind of like a productivity slash, I don't know, it's alternative to coffee because I don't cannot drink it too much. So
no, that's a great point. No, it's a great point, and that you'll have to send me like the guy's name, find out more about him, because yeah, that sounds like it could have been the catalyst for change there for Poland. And I think with the U.S., I would be curious where that started, other than Messi, how it kind of really first started in the U.S. But I would say the same in the U.S. They've turned it into more of an energy drink, and so that's kind of the thing is like, the energy and the health benefits, which there's nothing wrong with that. But as you know, it's completely different in Argentina as far as the culture and customs around it. And yeah. So it's an interesting perspective. And I would be curious, as your anthropology insights there, and actually being in Misiones, what are some insights that you could share with us Westerners that, that, I don't know, whatever things that you've learned or interesting, facts, I guess, what would you, I guess, want to highlight?
I mean, Misiones, to be honest, it's not like, I don't know how to explain that. Well, Misiones is where they produce all the yerba, and because that region, not specifically Misiones, also Paraguay and south of Brazil, is basically where the plant grew, and the Guarani. So, from what I understand, it all started with the Guarani, so like the natives, people that lived in that region. And how it really got, I don't know. Some say that it was the Jesuits that kind of, got among them and like incorporated that custom to them, like with some modifications. But what I'm not sure is like how the Guarani, I don't know if the Guarani really drank it hot, because in Paraguay, for example, it's like tereré, the cold version is very popular. So that one I don't have like clear answers really, like how it, like what was the process of like, starting it and taking it. I only know that, yeah. And also the how do you say, the mate?
The gourd. Yeah.
Is made from the plant that also grows there. How to say, the porongo? What do you call? How here you call it, the porongo?
Yeah, gourd. Basically, calabaza. Yeah, the calabash, I think, is the English word, which even I didn't know what that is. But yeah,
It's a kind of
Yeah, 'cause
pumpkin,
something
but a weird one.
that's exactly
Shaped
pumpkin doesn't
pumpkin.
translate the same in calabaza. Yeah, but
It's a weird shaped pumpkin.
yeah, yeah, like because we have kind of like squash too, and anyways, yeah. Um, languages are interesting. Yeah. Did you know any Spanish before moving to Argentina?
No, no. I mean, I traveled South America and Central America like twice. Like first, like 7 years ago, backpacking and hitchhiking, like Argentina, Chile, to Paraguay, and then I went to other time like 4 or 5 years ago, like Central America, from Mexico to Colombia on a bicycle. So I knew these regions, but like I came to Argentina really not knowing anyone here.
Mhm.
So it's all like, just meeting people along the way. To finish that point, that the Misiones is really where they produce all of it, but it's not like they drink it more than everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I would say they drink mate everywhere in Argentina. I think the only region that I found that doesn't really drink is Jujuy in the northwest. This are kind of like a region more similar to Bolivia, I would say, than Argentina. And I talked to people there, and yeah, they tell me that they drink like mate cocido, so it's like the tea version of mate or tea or coffee, but they don't you won't see people drink it. But otherwise, it's like you see it everywhere all the time. I think the difference is that in Misiones they also drink cold like tereré, but almost everywhere else I went, you won't find Argentinians drinking tereré. Like sometimes it's really hot, but it's like Argentinians are like, this is something you get accustomed to. Like it's 35 degrees Celsius. I don't know what the hell it is in our
Hot.
American
Yeah,
version.
it's probably like 100 or something. Yeah, it's hot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like that. I think so hot, hot. And Argentinians will drink like hot mate. Like it doesn't matter. Like in any other country, if you're like it's freaking hot and you want to drink a tea, like are you crazy?
Yeah.
And no, Argentina's like it doesn't matter. It's like 40 degrees, 35, 30, 20, 10. The weather doesn't matter. It's always like mate time. So that's definitely for me interesting because there are regions that are really hot and you would think like, I don't know, they would drink tereré, but they don't. They're like, oh, tereré is like for the Paraguayans and and people in Misiones. so for example, in Cordoba, you won't find almost anyone drinking tereré. So I know from insights, like for example, there are differences that, for example, Cordoba, where I'm here now in the region, is famous for drinking a lot of like yerba with other plants. So you put
Herbs.
like, for example, here you have now cedron. Cedron is like the tree that's kind of like lemon tree. I don't know how you call it. It's not lemon.
Yep.
It's like the leaves that they taste like lemon.
Mm-hmm.
Is it cedron? Cedron? How I don't know how to call it.
I forgot what it is in English. I have to look it up again. I think it's like but yeah, it's some kind of lemon grass or something similar to that. It's one of my wife's favorite too. Cedron.
Yeah, basically like it's like refreshing. Tastes like lemon, but it's just leaves. But there are different ones, many different ones. And in Cordoba here, there are a lot of like native plants, so like you won't find them anywhere else. And a lot of the Cordobese people, they take this or they dry it. Sometimes you put it raw and you just put with the yerba that you drink. So that's, for example, popular here, where in some regions not so popular, like Buenos Aires or the other ones I went. Like they always say, oh, the Cordobese, they drink it with like all the sushas. They call it sushas here.
Yeah,
Usually the herbs. I don't know. The herbal stuff.
Yep. No, yeah, that's the. So I didn't tell you this, but my wife's from Tucumán, and her mom is from Jujuy. So definitely from the northern region, and definitely more what they call the like mountain herbs, the Yerba serranos, and that kind of stuff. And that's definitely so you're but yeah, as far as that, in the mate cocido, is, I would say, more popular, especially from that kind of is, and that's a very valid point, which a lot of people don't know that, but that northern part of Argentina is very more reminiscent of Bolivia than it is, I guess the typical people think of Argentina, they think of Buenos Aires. So, but as you know, and I think that's another thing I try to point to other people too, is that it's very, very diverse in the sense of like people think of U.S. and they only think of New York. Like, no, there's a whole another, rest of the country you don't know. Same with Argentina, all the way north to south. It's whole different worlds. I mean, you got Antarctica all the way up to the desert, so, but yeah.
Cultures change too, and the language changes. I mean, it's all still,
Especially Cordoba.
yes, but no, I mean, it's like a lot, but Cordoba is just like famous, the accent here, and
Yeah.
but in general, from my travels, it's like, it sometimes feels like you are traveling to a different country, with the difference that if you travel from like Poland to, I don't know, to Germany, the people speak a different language and they have different customs and things like that. Here it's like, yeah, you change, and like, for example, language sometimes changes. Like in the northern, they use some of the more like native words sometimes, and they have different, accent. People look a bit different, like, more, I would say, kind of like Native American, like mixed, and kind of more mixed in that way. And and as you said, the climate changes, and it's either like suddenly mountains on its jungles, or it's like desert, so it's like, all kinds of stuff. But what doesn't change is that people drink mate, and they make asado, so like the Argentina barbecue, and they drink wine.
Yeah.
It's like it's like there is like I found that it's incredible that for such a big and diverse, there is for me like in my opinion, like a really strong Argentinian identity. That's like very common, that I feel like I've never been to US, but I feel like US doesn't have this like, what does it mean to be a US person, like yeah, you speak American accent, but besides that, I don't think there's something that like really unites people, like custom traditions. That there are some, I think, but it's like there's so many different cultures, and here there's so many different cultures, religions, but all that unites them, there's like the mate, asado, and that kind of stuff. It's like everywhere. It's for me, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. We'll go back to this American thing, because I do think that's kind of funny. I think the only thing is, like, there's Thanksgiving, there's our songs and movies, I guess, as far as our cultural exports. But I think 4th of July is about the only one super American thing. We all of a sudden become everyone's the most patriotic person ever. Everybody's wearing the flag, every color, wherever you can put it, and shooting off fireworks. That's about I don't know. I have to think more about this, but it's the identity of an American. It's kind of funny that you mentioned that. It's not like we have, I don't know. There's things for sure, but there's no like, asado on Sunday, or everybody drinks, mate or something. That's an interesting point, but cool insight. So you mentioned kind of like you kind of got started drinking yerba mate about 5 years before you even came to Argentina, and kind of just as a quote unquote productivity hack, and I guess just regular stimulant, I guess. Since then, has anything changed in the way you drink mate, or
I don't know. Maybe I simplify. I think I first actually drank it in Argentina, because as I was traveling, like that was my first like long-term travel, and I passed through Argentina. And I think I remember I tried it. I remember at the first I didn't like it, but I think the hook started there, because I think I came to Poland with mate. So I think actually I started it in Argentina, but the reason I kind of continued it at the beginning was, as I said, I never really drank coffee. Like, I don't know, I didn't like it, and then it made me feel bad. And then I started working a lot, like from the computer, like all the like digital nomad online work. Started my business, so I had a lot of like trying to concentrate, and I think I have tendency to be like a bit ADHD, ADD, like lose focus. And I think it helped me sort of maintain it. But then I think I kind of turned it into, I don't know, I guess I call it addiction, but like in a good sense of the word, that I became like a really, I don't know, how you call it, like a sommelier of mate, like
Hmm.
I started trying a lot of sherbas because in Poland at some point you could buy more and more like even of those like artisanal ones, you could say, like the smaller brands and stuff. So I started, trying more, bought a nicer mate, you know, uh, started turning it more into like a ritual in my mind, sort of like, every day I wake up, I do some stuff, and then it's time for, prepare the mate. That's like, I don't know, more like conscious. So like the difference for me about like habit and ritual is like habit is you do something on automatic, and ritual is just like the green tea ceremony in Japan or something, like you're more meticulous, you pay attention. So I don't know. I tried to do that. I tried getting my friends into it, but I was unsuccessful. Really, I think besides maybe like a couple of people in Poland, as I said, one of the programmer that I think he found it like good. And as I said, I think I saw like a trend that the programmers they kind of like it because of I think the how it works. um, and so now I think the what's changed is that as I said, I think coming here, the big change is here now. Coming here, I had to learn that I used to like my whole journey with mate was like me drinking solo, like 99.9% of the time, because like almost no one, I either worked solo or like even if I was with someone, like no one, no one drinks it there. Like, but what I had to learn here is that in Argentina, it's like almost the opposite. That it's even you would say culturally offensive if you have mate and you don't share it. Like many people told me that like half jokingly, of course, like they're not mad because like I'm foreigner. But sometimes I'm like with mate somewhere walking or I go somewhere or I'm making myself and I forget to like tell someone, hey, do you want some? Because as I said, it's like a habit of just like, yeah, I make it for myself and I drink it. But for Argentinians, it's like almost all they drink it. Not always, but like I would say more often than not, they make mate to share with someone. Either with their family member, they sit down and drink it, or with friends, or like it's a very social custom. Like we will go to, if it's a city, you will see like middle of the day, like everyone in the park in a circle and drinking mate. Like it's always like a circle. And for us, like in the Western world, a lot of countries, it's like, oh, it's horrible. You're drinking from the same straw. Like, are you gonna die or something? But like, they don't care, and they don't die here. So it's like very normal for here to just I say sure. And now I even travel like 1 month through the northern provinces in like a bus, and yeah, and it was like every day, like you make like two people make mate and you are the cebador, and there's like a rule of like what does it mean to be the cebador. So the guy who prepares mate, and then you have to pass it around, and if you are too slow, they're like, hey, what the hell are you doing, Pawan? And I don't know, that's for me really like something that I'm starting to get used to more. That when I leave, I'm like, I don't know, it's normal. Like even if it's like a half stranger, half like not even a good friend, and you are there with a mate, like you want some mate, and like yeah, like here I'm in this town, and it's like you go to a shop, and so I ask, can I have some mate? Is it still ready? Is it cold or good? I'm like, no, it's good. You want? So it's like I don't know. It's totally different in that way.
No, for sure. There's definitely nothing like that in the U.S. that I'm aware of, that where you can just be walking down the street and someone like ask you for a drink of your beverage or ask you for a bite of your sandwich or whatever, like I mean, so yeah, it's definitely a very culture shock, I guess, in the sense for like you said, us Westerners, but something I try to uh ease people into as well as explaining it and all that kind of stuff. Because yeah, it's the same thing. Like, you share the straw? Yeah. I mean, and if you like make it weird, then obviously it makes it weird. But if you don't, then you just kind of like do it like it's normal, I guess. Sometimes because I've shared it with friends, obviously, but complete strangers, not so much, but, you know, but if someone asked me for it, no big deal. But even for myself, getting started, I had to learn that as well. Um, because basically I only really share with my wife, but, every once in a while we'll have some friends or something, and, I'm used to it now, but, at first. Uh, well, tell us, I don't know, some more, I'm more curious about, some of your travels, especially in Argentina, but also as well as that bike trip. I don't know if there's any fun stories you want to share with us there. I mean, I'm sure you got tons of them, but maybe like, I don't know, one or two that's impactful or something.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I mean, the one thing that is still like lingering on my mind that I really maybe I can share that's like fascinating for someone about like this. There's a mate culture here. I was thinking comparing to Poland, where I'm from, is that I think the mate culture, what's so beautiful about it that I like it here, is that permits. It's like most often an excuse to get together and talk and share time. It's like, hey, let's get a mate and go to the river or stuff like that. And I was comparing, like making an analogy. Now let's say it's Wednesday, I don't know, 5 p.m. in Poland, and you call your friend, like a man friend, and you say like, hey, do you want to go to the river and drink tea together? He'll be like, I don't know, that sounds really change your orientation, like what's wrong with you, like you either have like an alcohol, like let's grab a beer like in the night, or maybe you invite someone for food, but you don't have, like, I feel like humans need like an excuse like, to get together, and I think mate is like this incredible excuse that Argentinians always have to get together, and they often get in those, as I said, in those groups, and they form a circle, and it's like, for example, when Catamarca was there, like you have lots of river and beautiful stuff just outside of the city, and it's like very common to like during siesta times, like in the middle of the day, most people here don't work, like there's a break from like 2 p.m. to like 5, 6 p.m. often. Depends, in the cities less, but in general, yeah. And people during that time, they just like they eat something, and then they if it's good weather, they go grab some friends and they go to the river and they sit for like 2 hours or something drinking mate, and I don't know, they have usually some crunchy stuff also, and and I don't know, and that's why you see like the Argentinians are like super social. I think that I think what makes them social, they have certain like customs and habits that make their culture more social, that help it, that, for example, we in Poland, we don't have. So like you only go out together for, like, for example, for drinking, and the problem with drinking is that you only do it on the weekends, because during week most people are like not alcoholic that much, so they don't want to drink on Wednesday. So they just don't go out. They're like, nah, I'm gonna stay at home. But here, you're like, no, let's go for a mate, like for an hour or something. So I don't know, that's like my last insight that for me it's like mind blowing how simple thing like that can like basically shape the entire like culture and the vibe and how social people are, which wouldn't seem so, right? Like it seems like such a small thing, but it's so important here.
No, it's very beautiful insight, because I guess I've never put those same words to that as far as an excuse to get together, and the highlight you said of like, there is no like excuse, at least in America, like you said, go out and get a drink or grab lunch or dinner or something, which, like, if it's not during those times, you don't do it, right? And then also the difference between drinking mate or going to get some drinks is like, you drink the mate, you're more alert, more talkative, more energetic, versus the drinks, you just like, the conversation gets dumber and dumber, I guess, after a couple hours, versus getting more, insightful. It's just, it's the opposite of alertness, so I think that's an interesting point too. But, and like you said, just like, hey, it's Tuesday at 10 o'clock, you want to go grab some drinks? Like, dude, like, I gotta work, or are you that alcoholic? Versus like, hey, you want to grab some tea? That tea, like, versus, let's go grab some lattes. Yeah, that's great, cool. And like you said, bring some snacks and we hang out and talk, and I think that also provides that more space for that. Like you said, in Argentina, they have a more culture of that, of being more social, and that's definitely something I've learned myself too. Still to this day, it still amazes me, how much more of uh, those differences, the healthy amount of friendship and culture of social interaction, I guess you could say. Whereas, like, at least here in America, where people are literally dying from just not being able to have a friend to talk to, which, it's sad. Like, so, anyways,
Yeah, yeah, you have a lot lower depressions here and all that kind of stuff. And in my opinion, a big part of that, like people can make all kinds of reasons, and I believe in all of them. But I think a huge impact is just the social stuff. Like humans need connection, and here you have like most of the people I knew everywhere I went, like they had a lot of social interaction, like compared uh, to Poland, which I wouldn't say is like antisocial, but it's like whole another level, of like how many times a week you get together,
mm-hmm.
And also like the group, like that it's here like a lot of times a bigger group. It's like and people are very like more spontaneous, I think too. Like if someone just invites, yeah, I will go. Like they don't have to plan. I think it's like also mentality. They don't have to plan like 2 weeks ahead. Like in Poland, I invented.
My wife always gets mad about that too. Yeah.
Like in Poland,
well, we're booked for the next 6 months. Are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah, we have this more like planning mindset in the Western. So it's like a lot. So I think it helps that here they're more spontaneous. So like this kind of things during the week, or like you have an hour or two, and someone invites you, like. It's not like you're thinking, oh, this ruins all my meticulous plans. It's like, oh, let's go.
Yeah.
So that's
Dude, Konrad, thanks for great conversation and insight. That it really was helpful. Definitely something that'll be impactful for the community. But before we go, I want to honor you and give you some space to talk about, like, plug your website or your podcast. Like, let the listeners know a little bit more about you. I mean, kind of give them a brief introduction, but what else do you want them to know?
Well, I have hard time, like, I'm such all over the place with the stuff I do. So I need to focus definitely. But no, what I do, I mean, if you feel like coming to Argentina, I've started this project this year, actually last year, but now it's January. Of like trying to promote. I mean, it doesn't yet have like a specific structure of like what it's gonna be, but the idea is basically to promote the lesser known, really beautiful and I think more interesting regions of Argentina that are not as popular to the. I'm mostly focused on the foreigners, no, because Argentina is all around Argentina, but I found in my travels and also my propensity to always go the opposite of where one's going. I noticed that there are like super over concentrated regions of Argentina, like Patagonia, I don't know, Mendoza, Buenos Aires. And there are some other ones that are, I think, equally interesting and beautiful, or more sometimes. And then they have less crowds, and there are benefits to going there. And that, like if you speak Spanish and all that stuff, you can go there because you'll find information. But like in English, it's like a bit lacking in the logistics and so I created for now like a beta version of like an intro guide to Argentina, where I try to make it more like a traveler's guide rather than like tourist guide, like off the beaten path.
Cool.
And I will be constantly like updating it. It's like a more long-term project to just basically see if I can, create some maybe itineraries, plans, and maybe in the future, if like I get some interested people to organize some trips. That's why I said I don't know what it's in form. I have like a website called Argentura. Like, that card. I will put it in the chat, or I can send you that.
Yeah, please do. I'll put it in the notes for everyone as well. Yeah, that sounds very interesting.
So that's something one, and but that's something that I will like kind of updating. I now have to process all the videos I created during the last like 5 months of travel. So I will be publishing some things on my YouTube. So there you can get my that's like Konrad Yerba Mate Addict on YouTube. And there I post like, it's like a mix of travel, business things, marketing, because that's like my other, kind of, you could say, obsession or work is one is travel. And the other one is like, I got into consulting, like business consulting now. And I probably will focus on like digital nomads and people who like with that kind of businesses.
Yeah.
So as far as like projects and visions for the next, this year, my plan is if I can do it, for now I have to do like ask people around, organize like a business boot camp here in Argentina. So where we would, I don't know, go into a house for like, I don't know, 2 weeks, a month or something, like rent, I don't know, 4 or 5 people who want to have some business, either have some challenge or want to grow like more focused, and then maybe do like during that time, so it's not all work, like do some travels. So I asked one of my friends who was my like consulting clients if he would be, he's from Poland, if he would be down for it. He said yes. So now I want to like ask people here in Argentina and some of the Facebook groups if there are like people who would be interested in doing that, where I would be like the facilitator, organizer, and yeah, just help people make like bigger progress in their online businesses, be it with like, the operational things or marketing or whatever. But I believe heavily that, I know some stuff I can help people. But I feel like if you put together a bunch of smart people who are in that space, like the progress is amazing. Because I went to a thing like that once, and I know what the difference it made for me. So yeah, and that's kind of ahead, and I was starting to publish it now more, like something called Nomadic Innovator, like a newsletter. That will be more focused on business and marketing, where I just share some of the insights, things I read, the experiments I do with the clients I have, and maybe try to mix it a bit with like the cultural insights of traveling. I still don't really know like how it will look, but I'm trying to figure out like how to combine my whole life is trying to combine my love for being a nomadic person of like changing places and people with growing, some kind of business.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, you're on the right path. You don't know have all the steps, but just keep going. I can encourage you with anything. That's how kind of this podcast even came together. It was just like an idea, and still don't know what I'm doing. I'm in the dark, but the path gets clearer the more steps you take forward, and learn by doing. And I will say, I'll message you later, but I have some contacts in Tucumán that do like digital marketing stuff, so might be able to try to help you out there. Would love to help you on the travel project too, if you want any help as far as the northern region. I know a little bit, but also I got to connect you with my friend Jeff Hatter. He's in the U.S. but was living in Korea. He's big on travel, and he has his own little Yerba Travels podcast. So maybe someone else to connect you with, and like-minded kind of person. And there's another American that I follow. Her name's Sarah. She's like the self-proclaimed like Buenos Aires digital nomad, and that's kind of her little thing is digital nomads and stuff. So don't know if that's any help, but I'll try to be the connector, help you out there. Great people, obviously. So whatever I can do. That's the beauty of these conversations as well. You never know what until you talk about these kind of things.
If I can be of any help too, then let me know. I don't know if and also last week, if anyone wants to like message me, I don't know, ask for something, just feel free at Konrad@konradyerba.com, like my email address.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm happy to connect, or I don't know, if you are someone with some really expert knowledge in something, especially curious, then I might even interview you. I'm not doing the interviews so often, but if I find someone or some like my heroes respond to me,
then same here.
Then I'll do it.
Keep reaching out to Messi until he gets on, but yeah. But no, yeah, for sure, dude. I appreciate your time and just willing to even do this as well. Because to be honest, uh, it's an honor to have someone like you that's insightful and cares about it, and your time is just as valuable. So I do appreciate the value you give to the audience today, and we'll keep in touch. Of course, I'll message you. No worries there. But we'll maybe do it again another time. But safe travels. Enjoy Argentina. Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you, but hopefully I'll see you in person and one day soon. We were trying to go last year and it just didn't happen, but this year we're definitely going to try to make it happen somehow. So anyways,
yeah.
So I'll let you know what the plan right now, just putting it out there in the universe, whatever, over the summer, well, American summer. So July-ish, June or July-ish is the plan, I know that's winter there, but anyways, that's so keep you updated.
Where the winter,
Yeah,
I went to winter to Catamarca. It was 30 degrees Celsius. So I don't know. That's probably
yeah,
90 or 100. That's not,
yeah,
no, it's very winterish.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Thank you for listening to the Yerba Power podcast. I hope you got a lot out of that episode. I found it very insightful. Thank you, Konrad, for coming on and sharing your insights of your travels. And the power of yerba mate as a social connector to literally help with depression. I think that's really cool insight, and also the connector of kind of a culture and a country and identity, despite the different diversity in the regions. And so thank you for listening to the show. Do me a huge favor. You're listening this far. Like, follow, subscribe to the Yerba Power podcast, wherever you're listening to this. If you are on Apple Podcasts, it's like a little check mark now for like follow. Same with Spotify. It's like a follow the podcast on Spotify. Not only is that allow you to keep up to date with all the episodes when they come out, which I produce an episode every Tuesday, but also that helps with the algorithms to be able to literally share the power of yerba mate with the world. It helps with that getting more reach so that more people can learn about yerba mate and share this connection together throughout the world. So thank you guys for listening. Talk to you again soon.